Thinker posted an Abzan list in the Lantern Control Discord, and of course I've got a soft spot for those really cool 3-color lists. Let's run it through a league and see how well we do. So today I'm trying something slightly different. I have looked at the Lantern Control Discord, which is available as a link to whatever you're watching this on. And my good friend Mickey, also known as Thinker, who has been a pillar of the Lantern community since I've been part of it, and I've been part of it for a very, very long time. He has updated his deck list to include a couple of additional spicy sideboard cards. And I thought it looked cool, so I decided to make a couple of small tweaks to it and play it on stream. So Thinker likes to do his list slightly differently than I do. You'll notice that today we are playing with 22 lands and 1 Mox Opal, so that's 23 in total. That is 1 more land than I play with. He's got the same complement of mill rocks for the most part. Still got the 4 Shredder, 2 Pyxis, which is different than how I do it. I do 4 Pyxis, 2 Shredder. Mill rocks for the most part, hate rocks are all basically the same. The spicy things, or the things that he deviates from me on, specifically Dreams of Steel and Oil. Dreams of Steel and Oil is a really interesting piece of tech, in my opinion. It will help out a lot against Esper Blink, I think, and it will also help out against a couple of other random things. We will go and see what that would look like as the league progresses, I think. He's also on 9 discard spells in the main, so 4 Thoughtseize, 3 Inquisition, 1 Duress, and 1 Dreams. I did end up changing his mana base just a little bit. Originally, he had the 4 Verdant Catacombs and 1 Godless Shrine, and I believe he also had 1 Caves of Koilos as his 6 white-producing lands. I went ahead and cut a bunch of stuff, and I bumped that up to, I believe, 9 in total. So we've got 4 Verdant Catacombs, 1 Polluted Delta, 2 Marsh Flats, and 1 Bloodstained Mire on top of the card that they can all fetch, which is this Godless Shrine. Now, why are we playing white today? We are playing white for 2 cards, Gaddock Teague and Hushbringer. And yes, I know conventional wisdom dictates that you do not play creatures in Lantern Control because they can be removed by Fatal Push and Lightning Bolt and stuff like that. But I have found that this conventional wisdom holds less and less true now that we have more diverse answers to creatures just in main decks. Things that not only hit creatures, but will hit artifacts. Stuff like Prismatic Ending, Leyline Binding, Wrath of the Skies, even. Will just wipe your board. It doesn't care if it's a creature or an artifact or an enchantment or whatever. It's just going to be gone. So the cost for running creatures specifically is less of a cost now, especially in the sideboard when people will be siding out their dedicated creature removal, like probably Fatal Push, for example. So why are we playing these white cards? Gaddock Teague shuts off Wrath of the Skies. Gaddock Teague shuts off Karn the Great Creator. It shuts off Kozilek's Command. These are real issues that we will have against Tron and Eldrazi variants. I think that Gaddock Teague is worth trying against those decks. It could serve quite a bit of a purpose, perhaps. And Hushbringer is an upgraded Torpor Orb. Hushbringer will not just stop creatures entering triggers, it will also stop creatures dying triggers. So think of your Basking Broodscales, your Yawgmoth combo. Hushbringer will shut those off just the same as it will shut off your Witch Enchanters and your Flickerwisps. I don't know if this is going to be worth it in the long run, but I do think that it is worth it to try out, which is why I'm playing the list today. Thinker is a good friend of mine. We have been friends for about 10 years now, I think. And every time that I have left Magic and come back, he's just been there patiently and consistently upkeeping the Lantern community. And honestly, I would not be here today doing this streaming if Thinker had not kept at what he was doing with his work. So give him props where it is due. He is better at this deck than I am, for sure. And I'm gonna take his list for a little bit of a spin, and we'll see if that white splash is going to be worth it in the current meta. All right, we have started round 1 versus the ValaKing. I think I will take a bit of a risk and keep this. I could see an argument for not keeping this, but at least it's got a Thoughtseize. I'm gonna need a little bit of help from the top of the deck here. And by the way, Naya, don't tempt me with a good time. Next up, I'm gonna call it the Mama base. Also, welcome to the stream, Strat. I hope you enjoy it. My opponent is fetching an wow. They used an Arid Mesa to fetch a Sacred Foundry. Looks like we might be playing against energy, and we are. Underworld Cookbook in my hand is going to be pretty good. Lantern on top is very nice, actually. I will play out a Blooming Marsh and use it to cast a Thoughtseize. And it looks like we have a lot of good stuff in their hand. This was an excellent 7 for them to keep. We've got triple Guide of Souls. We've got Ocelot Pride. We've got the Ajani Nakado Pariah, which I'm tempted to take. I don't currently have a way of handling that Ajani. That being said, they're going to be beating me down with these Guide of Souls and Ocelot Prides very soon. And I'm not going to have much of a way to handle that. Although I suppose that their Arena of Glory does not tap for white, does it? All right, that is an Ocelot Pride down. An Inquisition of Kozilek. I think I'm going to fetch first, and then I'm going to lead off of a Lantern. An Inquisition on top of my deck. I need to survive 2 more hits. And in those 2 hits, I need to find land and Ensnaring Bridge. I think I need to play out a Pyxis. Now, is Voice of Victory okay? This will be 3 points of damage next turn. I think that's all right. All right, they've dropped a Guide of Souls. They're going to start swinging in for a decent chunk of damage here. That is 3 energy that they've got. They are going to swing in. I'm going to take 5 here. And I will, in fact, activate Pyxis. All right, that Verdant Catacombs is something that I pretty desperately needed. I do not believe I can afford to have that Ancient Stirrings. I think I need to draw Bridge directly. I'm going to Inquisition them again. Double Guide of Souls and a Voice of Victory. Well, they can deal to me next turn 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Guide of Souls will enter. That will allow them to get a little bit more energy. So that would be 9. I would fall to 2. Having that double Guide of Souls really stinks. I'm going to go ahead and take it. Grabbing the basic Forest here because I cannot afford to fall any lower. Now I need a Ensnaring Bridge on top of my deck in the next 5 cards. Goblin Bombardment is not okay for them to draw. These and the Pyromancer, I think I have to take the risk on this. I don't think I can afford for the card underneath this to be like a Static Prison or something like that. A Flage is also not good. They cannot kill me this turn, notably. And I will have to discard my Grafdigger's Cage to this Underworld Cookbook. Voice of Victory is down. Just gonna make sure that my math is correct. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. And then they can pump it up to 9. Yeah, I'm gonna be at 1, actually. Not a particularly comfortable spot for me to be at. I will auto-yield to that. Go ahead and exile that Flage and the Verdant Catacombs on top of my deck. And that Profane Tutor is not good enough. All right, Ensnaring Bridge or bust. That's not an Ensnaring Bridge. We got to shuffle. That's a Profane Tutor, which is notably not an Ensnaring Bridge. All right, well, I think I did my best. I think the decision that I could have made differently was keeping the hand that I kept. But with the hand that I kept, I think I did a decent job. So what are we going to be bringing in against this deck? Pretty sure the Meat Hook Massacre is going to be coming in against them. Do I want to bring in anything else? Soulless Jailer is not particularly relevant. And notably, it does not actually stop Flage. Cursed Totem, not particularly relevant. Gaddock Teague, not relevant. Ashiok, not relevant. Hushbringer, not really relevant. So yeah, I think it's just the 2 Meat Hook Massacres. And what do I want to side out? I want to side out Grafdigger's Cage. Although I suppose this version is not playing 4 pick sides, it's only playing 2. I think it's still okay to side out Cage if I leave in the Underworld Cookbook. And what else do I want to side out? Honestly, Duress, perhaps? I might side out the Duress. I'm really wishing that this Duress was a 4th Inquisition, because if it was, then I would be able to just side out of Thoughtseize. I might side out of Thoughtseize anyway. I think I'm just going to side out of Thoughtseize anyway. Okay, and let's go ahead and run it back. This hand is not keepable. I'm going to mulligan. This hand also not keepable. Straight to 5. Straight to 5, huh? I'm going to keep this. I'm going to bottom a Mox Opal, and do I bottom the Marsh Flats or do I bottom the Urza Saga? I could be screwed pretty badly if I bottom the Marsh Flats and I don't find a 4th land. I think I'm going to bottom the Urza Saga. I think I'm going to be more disciplined. Okay, Marsh Flats will grab Basic Swamp here. Basic Swamp. And I will play out Lantern. Sacred Foundry on top of their deck. They played it as their land. And notably, my opponent has kept 7. There's a very good chance that I'm just not able to do anything here. Ragavan on top of their deck, huh? It's an Ancient Stirrings on top of mine. Am I okay with just giving them an Ancient Stirrings? Getting my Urza Saga started? Or do I want to play out my Marsh Flat and kill this Ragavan? I think I want to get some draw control started. I'm going to play out the Urza Saga, and I'm going to play out the Pyxis. I'm going to give up on Trophy for now. I might save this trophy for a Static Prison that is kept in their hand. They're going to take the Stirrings off the top of my deck, and that's a Meat Hook Massacre on top of mine. I think I'm going to keep that Massacre, actually. Are they just... Wow, they're wrathing now, huh? Okay, that's fine, I think. Ugh. Maybe I should have kept the Assassin's Trophy held up. Although I suppose it wouldn't have mattered because it would have given them an untapped land. Do I actually want to do anything here? I don't think so. I think I just need to let it go. All right, I am holding an Assassin's Trophy, and I'm holding a Meat Hook Massacre. If I get one more land, then I could probably make a dent in what my opponent is doing. Voice of Victory is down. Maybe I should have taken that, huh? Just for tempo reasons. Ocelot Pride's down. I will grab the Overgrown Tomb, have it enter tapped. That is a Blooming Marsh. I think I am going to trophy the Voice of Victory now. And I've got this Meat Hook Massacre as a board wipe that I can use. Oh, they just had another one. All right. That 3 toughness on that Voice of Victory is not fun. Wow, and they had the Goblin Bombardment. You know, the Meat Hook Massacre actually regains all of the life that I get from these red warriors attacking me. That's really interesting. I think I will just Meat Hook Massacre for 1 right now. That's fine. I'm going to fall to 13. Ajani Nakado Pariah. Yeah, my problems are mounting. I will fetch with my Verdant Catacombs just to get my F6 equity, and I think I'll grab the Godless Shrine and have it enter tap. I'm going to fall to 10. Then Ajani is going to do its thing. It's going to deal 4 to me. And then I'm going to go up to 7. But probably, honestly, down to 5 again. Oh, wow, that's nasty. And they are sequencing it correctly. So yeah, I think I'm going to stay at 5. I do not believe that there is a single draw that I can have that will get me out of this situation. Oh, they didn't sacrifice that. Okay, well, I gained a little bit of life. I don't think it's going to be relevant. Yeah, even if I directly top deck Ensnaring Bridge right now, I just don't think it's going to work. Yeah, that's a Codex Shredder. All right, well, we got ran over by energy. That happens. I think that really the only thing that I could have done differently in this particular match is if I had chosen to keep a different 7. That was a risky keep. I acknowledged it. And now you know what happens when you keep a hand like that against energy. All right, let's go ahead and move on to round 2. I hope you're enjoying the video. If you like watching my particular style of content, consider subscribing so you can get notified of my videos and live streams. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we are on the draw in round 2 versus Q-Baller. I think I'll keep this hand. It has a decent amount of disruption. It does have double Pithing Needle, which is kind of dead, but the Ensnaring Bridge packed by double discard is a very nice thing to have. Opponent with the mulligan to 5. Devourer of Destiny, huh? All right, let's take a look at their exile. Emrakul the Promised End, Malevolent Rumble, and Eldrazi Temple in exile, and they played a Llanowar Waste into a Vexing Bauble. Yeah, I will, I'll take that. Okay, Blooming Marsh into what? I could Blooming Marsh into Pithing Needle on Vexing Bauble, prevent them from cycling it. I don't think that's going to be particularly relevant. So I think I'm actually going to go Polluted Delta into Fetch Basic Swamp. And then I will Inquisition them, maybe taking them off of a Talisman, maybe off of a Kozilek's command. Also, run art. Building Lantern in Pauper involves playing, I believe it's called Thoughtpicker Witch. It's a very different deck in Pauper than it is in Modern. All right, Inquisition time. Malevolent Rumble, that's fantastic. I could Pithing Needle Urza Saga here, and I think I will. Although Pithing Needle Urza Saga is not actually going to accomplish much, because I have the Ensnaring Bridge to stop their hand anyway. So perhaps I should Pithing Needle the Haywire Might that I know is going to come out of it. Now, I don't know what their other draw was. Do I really need to Thoughtseize them now? I think I can Dreams, actually. Yeah, I will Dreams. I'll take that Devourer of Destiny if nothing else happens. Oh, that is a double Urza Saga. Yeah, Devourer of Destiny is out of your hand now. I'm gonna play out this Blooming Marsh, and I will Pithing Needle your Haywire Might. Urza Saga hits Chapter 2, and of course they play their other one in hand. But unfortunately, it just doesn't really matter because I'm gonna play out my Ensnaring Bridge, and now you've got very little going on. They're gonna have to rip something really good here. If they both create a construct and get something off this Urza Saga, then their construct cannot attack. Let's see if they decide to go for a little bit of damage now. They're creating the construct. Perhaps they're looking to sacrifice their Vexing Bauble. Maybe they drew a land for turn. That is a Blade of the Blood Chief. Well, I'm going to be hitting that with my second Pithing Needle. Glad I was conservative with these Pithing Needles. I will play out an Ensnaring Bridge number 2, and then I will play Pithing Needle on the Blade of the Blood Chief. And then I think I'm just going to hold this Thoughtseize. I don't really need to use it right now. So they did not create another construct. They popped their Urza Saga to play out a Soul Guide Lantern, and they are playing out a second Blade of the Blood Chief, cycling their Soul Guide Lantern to try and draw a card. And at this point, I think that their out is Pings with Glaring Fleshraker. All right, it might be time to Thoughtseize them. Fomori Vault, Marsh Flats, Urza Saga, Codex Shredder are my hits off of this Ancient Stirrings. I mean, say what you will, but I think I'm actually going to grab the Fomori Vault here. I think it's stronger than Urza Saga in this position. And I will Thoughtseize them. Yeah, I'll Thoughtseize them. Emrakul the Promised End, Kozilek's Command, Stowing Mycospawn. Well, that Kozilek's Command has got to go. That was their draw for turn, that Talisman of Resilience. And now we will see the power of Fomori Vault. I'm going to discard this Blooming Marsh. I'm going to look at the top 4 cards of my deck. This is an Ancient Stirrings every single turn. I found another Blooming Marsh. I found an Ensnaring Bridge, a Mox Opal, and an Assassin's Trophy. I think I'm going to take the Mox Opal because it is additional artifacts for my Fomori Vault. I don't think I want to hold the Assassin's Trophy. They found an Ugin's Labyrinth. I don't think that's particularly useful right now. They did put Emrakul underneath of it. 2, 4, 5. They still don't have the mana necessary to fully kick Sowing Mycospawn here. It looks like they are going to cast it, though. That is hideous artwork for that card. My goodness. Eldrazi Fungus indeed. I wonder what land they're going to search for. Just an Eldrazi Temple? Alright. I mean, that's fine, I guess. Okay, do I want to spin away this Profane Tutor, or do I just want to suspend it? I think I'll just suspend it. I think that's fine. Notably, Shifting Woodland is active here. It's just, what are they going to target in their graveyard? They can target a Vexing Bauble and cycle it, I guess? They can target an Urza Saga and slowly tick that up. And that's a Glaring Fleshraker. Currently not causing that much trouble, actually. But it could cause a lot of trouble if they find a Kozilek's Command. There is no reason why I should be ahead on clock here. But I'm ahead on clock by 2 minutes. That is a Codex Shredder. Do I spin this or do I play it? I think I will play it, actually. Now I just need to fade Kozilek's Command for just a little longer. Alright, that's not a Kozilek's Command. That's fantastic. And I think I'm going to be able to wrap this up. I will fetch a Lantern of Insight off of this Profane Tutor that's on Suspend. Fomori Vault will hopefully dig me into another Millrock. I think we're looking pretty good. Profane Tutor coming off Suspend, right on time, as always. Well, not as always, but usually a decent chunk of the time it comes off Suspend right when you need it to. And that is an Ancient Stirrings. I will play out Lantern first, and then I'll see what's up. That is a Kozilek's Command on top of their deck. Can't have that, sorry, mate. That is another Kozilek's Command. All right, I'm going to spin this Fomori Vault. This currently looks at 7 cards. And I found not much, actually. I'm going to take another lantern. I will do this on their upkeep in case they decide to spin Shifting Woodland into something. Gonna shuffle that away, just hope that you don't hit anything else good. Glaring Fleshraker, number 2. That means that their colorless spells will start dealing me a decent chunk of damage. Every colorless spell now deals 4 damage to me. But the power of Fomori Vault cannot be ignored. Looking at 7 cards every single turn, trying to find exactly what I need. And I think exactly what I need here. It might be the Underworld Cookbook. Nah, who am I kidding? I'm going to take another Codex Shredder. I can afford to wait a little longer if I need to. Cavern of Souls is in their hand. Oh, that Sowing Mycospawn has just been rotting there for a while. Sowing Mycospawn's not in their hand at all. They are currently sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can actually hardcast this Emrakul right now if they want to. I think that would cause trouble for me, but I'm not convinced it would actually wreck my day. Looks like they're choosing not to do that. All right, go ahead and mill your Malevolent Rumble. Do I want to give them the Basking Broodscale? Don't think so. Eldrazi Temple is fine. Do I spin away this Urza Saga? I don't know. I don't know if I spin away this more Urza Saga. I think I do eventually need to get that Underworld Cookbook. Have I used... Oh, that's exiled, huh? Okay. Oh, from Soul Guide Lantern. I have not used an Assassin's Trophy. I believe I tucked one. I think I will spin this away, actually. I'll spin this away. I'm going to look at 8 cards here. I still didn't find anything good. I think I'm going to take a Pyxis. Eldrazi Temple on top of their deck. And they're still choosing to not play out that Emrakul, at least not that exact moment. Wow, they're choosing not to do it. Yeah, I will take that Sowing Mycospawn, and I will take that Glaring Fleshraker. Devourer of Destiny is fine, actually. And I think I'm going to do this on their draw step. Take out that Glaring Fleshraker. I would have needed Cookbook to try and keep up with the life loss coming from these Glaring Fleshrakers eventually. But, you know, now that there's only 1 on the table, I don't think I need it anymore. Yeah, I think we're pretty okay. This Emrakul will come down the second that my opponent figures out how to cast it. I don't think I'm worried about that. They are going to Shifting Woodland here, perhaps. If they do that, then there's a decent chance that I pop Codex Shredder to get back Assassin's Trophy. I'm going to have the mana to do that if I draw this Marsh Flats. Oh, they're just casting a Devourer of Destiny. That's fine. Yeah, I'll fall to 8. I think that's okay. Mill your Emrakul. And you can keep Urza Saga, actually. I'll let you draw that. All right. So if I do this trophy line, then I would have to fall to 8 and fetch out my Godless Shrine here. I think that is acceptable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do this now. Am I going to do it now? Yeah, I'll do it now. They can convert Shifting Woodland into a Soul Guide Lantern to fizzle this. I don't think that matters because I want this to happen anyway. I want to get rid of the Shifting Woodland anyway. And they can use this to draw a card at instant speed. I'm not gonna get cute with it. I'm just gonna do it now. They are returning Emrakul to their hand. Notably, I have not activated Pyxis this entire time, which means that they're not going to have anything to return with Pyxis if they decide to pop it when they control me. They're tapping out for this. They don't really need to, right? I'm going to fall to 7 and then to 6. Urza Saga is going to put me to 4. I kind of want that Underworld Cookbook at some point. Start gaining a little bit of life. Yeah, okay. Do your worst, I guess. And they skip my upkeep. Wow. Literally the worst thing that they could have done. The worst choice that they could have made there. Except for Suspend Profane Tutor. They just passed the turn. That Emrakul did stone cold nothing. All right, that's fine. I will accept this as a thing that is legal for you to do. And I think I am just going to suspend the Profane Tutor. I don't think I'm going to mess around. They're just choosing to do stone cold nothing. All right, that's fine. If you're going to choose to do nothing, then I'm also going to choose to do nothing. Let us go ahead and spin to win. So many things I could have. I think I will grab a Codex Shredder. And given how my opponent is just burning so much time, I think I'm interested in keeping this game going on as long as I possibly can. I'm going to mill them as little as possible here. Haywire might... I will mill that, I think. Yeah, they didn't even pop Lantern. You're absolutely right. They did not pop Lantern. They just did nothing. Blade of the Bloodchief is okay. Let's go ahead and cast this. And I think here I will get an Assassin's Trophy. I'm going to spin this land into something. I don't know what. Do I want to show them the Underworld Cookbook? I think I'm just going to grab a Pyxis. Hopefully y'all have seen just how hard this Fomori Vault has carried this game. It has done a ton of work. Blade of the Bloodchief in hand. Ugin's Labyrinth coming down. They don't have anything to tuck underneath of it. They are creating the construct. This will put me to 5. This will put me to 4. They don't have any 1-power stuff. That's why I took them off the Haywire Might. I just didn't want to take the poke from it. Okay, and this is all perfectly fine, actually. I am going to stop doing funny business with Fomori Vault. I am going to focus on my time. The card that I tutored for is still very clearly in my hand. They're going to put me to 3 with this. Do they have a 1-drop artifact that could create 3 colorless creatures right off the bat? I don't think so. I'm going to make that bet. That's a Springleaf drop. Yeah. I'm going to fall to 2. And that's Cavern of Souls out of their hand. And that's Blade of the Bloodchief as well. Alright. So, yeah, we're fine. We are perfectly fine. I'm going to get rid of this Bloodstained Mire just to make it so that I don't accidentally kill myself with it. And I will create a construct. Yeah, I'll create a construct so that I can block any potential second Haywire Mites that may be coming down the pipeline. And right now, I'm just trying to milk my opponent for time. That's literally all I'm doing. I'm so far ahead on time on them, and they have not been kind to their own clock. I'm not even going to find anything with this Urza Saga. I'm going to take that Glaring Fleshraker there. Devourer of Destiny is fine here. And now I need to trophy them. I'm going to remain at 2 life here. I held on to that trophy for as long as I possibly could to give my opponent the hope that they had an out. Now I took that hope away. Let's see if they continue to play this game or not. They really should have wrapped this up a long time ago, but they didn't. All right, and they conceded. They should have conceded that like 20 minutes ago, but we will take the win. Now they have to win 2 games in 6 minutes. I'm not convinced that they can do it. Okay, so what am I citing out here, actually? Grafdigger's Cage will stop exactly grabbing Haywire Might out of an Urza Saga. I'm not convinced that this is good enough. Assassin's Trophy seems fine. Underworld Cookbook seems good. Pithing Needles are necessary. Dreams of Steel and Oil seems like it would be better than Duress. I think I'm going to side out the Duress. Do I side out a Millrock? I don't know if that's correct. Definitely keeping in all of my Pithing Needles. I don't really know what I bring out to bring in this 3rd Hushbringer. Oh, if I have Hushbringer, then that means that I don't need to worry about Glaring Fleshraker, which means that I actually think I will side out the Underworld Cookbook. Because Glaring Fleshraker is a colorless creature entering trigger to deal damage, at least. So it will shut off the reach half of that card. And I'm going to keep this hand that has double discard, consistency, half of the lock, and ensnaring bridge. This is a really good 7 to have. My opponent has mulligan to 6. I will lead on turn 1 Haywire Might. That's pretty good. All right. I think I will lead on green. Thief of Existence, Basking Broodscale, Kozilek's Command, Shifting Woodland. I'll take the Thief of Existence. That's fine. Pretty good hand, though, right? Firmal to 6, that's not bad. Kozilek's Command, Shifting Woodland, Basking Broodscale, Thief of Existence. I don't know why that didn't take, but it didn't. All right, Basking Broodscale is down. I'm going to take 1 point of damage here. I'm going to fall to 19. That is a Mox Opal. Mox Opal could be a land. They currently cannot cast that Kozilek's Command. I think I will shock this in. I will Stirrings now. I'm just going to take the Blooming Marsh. I'm not going to get cute. I will cast Codex Shredder, and I will cast Mox Opal. Next turn, I'm going to Blooming Marsh into Ensnaring Bridge into Thoughtseize. They're going to pop their Haywire Might, and then I'm just going to play another Ensnaring Bridge, and it'll be fine. Right now, I think I'm going to win on clock. I'm falling to 14. I'm going to fall to 9 once all this is said and done. Not filling their graveyard. There's no reason to do that. That is a shift. Wow. That is an Urza Saga that I just top decked. I could take the risk, play out my Urza Saga, potentially have it be hit with a Haywire Might before its mana ability resolves. I will do that, because if they do that, then it means that I'm still casting Ensnaring Bridge at the exact same time. So let's go ahead and do this now. And then before they have an opportunity to respond, I'm going to Thoughtseize them. Take that Kozilek command out of their hand. And now they have to delete the Ensnaring Bridge, but they also have to contend with this Urza Saga. They are going to delete the Ensnaring Bridge, that's okay. And they're just going to adapt. I'm going to fall to 6. Now that's very interesting. Here's what could happen. If I just play Ensnaring Bridge, play Lantern, whatever, then they could, next turn, activate Shifting Woodland, because for some reason they have 4 card types in their graveyard when they only have 2 cards in their graveyard. They could turn Shifting Woodland into a Haywire Might, and then they could pop the Haywire Might, targeting my Ensnaring Bridge, and then swing for exactly lethal. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I will instead play out my Lantern. They have an Urza Saga coming down the pipeline too. I'm kind of scared of that with this game, with this board state. I think I'm going to take it. Yeah, Vexing Bauble, you got it. This line makes me immune to that sort of thing. And it also means that even though I would fall to 3 life, I would be able to eat this Broodscale, and I would be able to eat the Broodscale on the next attack too. Also, Haywire Might can only target non-creature artifacts, so it means that it cannot target the Saga constructs. They're choosing just to play the Vexing Bauble, and then they're choosing to pop it immediately. I think I will create the construct now. I will allow them to draw that Boseiju. Wrong Boseiju. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have allowed them to draw the Boseiju, huh? Because now they can Boseiju my construct, and then swing for Xaxes. Let's see if they see the line. They do see the line. I will not use the ability so that I don't reveal any additional stuff. Yeah, that was well played by the opponent there. They saw a line that I didn't see. Okay. Well, it proves that they can win a game in 3 minutes. But now they need to win a game in double 3 minutes. If that makes any sense at all. Which it doesn't. I would like to be on the play, thank you. With this hand, triple stirrings. Do I really want triple stirrings with 1 land? I don't think so. I think I need a mulligan. This is a much better hand. I'm going to keep this. And I will... I'm tempted to bottom the stirrings here. I'm really tempted to bottom the stirrings. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to bottom stirrings. I just don't see a plan for that card, you know? Because I'm going to play first turn Blooming Marsh Pyxis, second turn Saga Profane Tutor. And they've had turn 1 Haywire Might twice in a row now. Do I expose my Urza Saga to that Haywire Might? I don't think I need to. I think I can overload it. I'm going to fetch for a Godless Shrine here. And I will suspend Profane Tutor now. And then next turn, I will go Saga into Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, and they could potentially combo kill me next turn. All right, Urza Saga, Ensnaring Bridge, your go. Let's see if that's enough disruption. They've got 5 cards in hand. What could they do here? They could play Blade of the Blood Chief out of their hand, equip it, then pop the Haywire Might targeting the Ensnaring Bridge, which would trigger the Blade of the Blood Chief, which would trigger the Brasking Broodscale. Wow, they just had Xaxes on turn 3. All right, well, I'm gonna make you execute the combo. Dang, that's crazy that they just had that. I think I made responsible decisions this game. I think it just didn't pan out. I suppose I could have played my Urza Saga a turn earlier. Jeez, mate. Okay, well, I mean, sometimes you just make good decisions and you lose. My opponent winning with a minute 13 left on their clock here. Okay, I'm gonna eat it. On to round 3.
Has your loss to Lantern Control left you bitter and despondent? Try working through the 5 stages of grief by joining the Fateseal MTG Patreon. Languish in denial with my $2 tier and get access to my Discord community and your name in my video credits. You'll gain more perks as your grief matures, like tournament live streams, lessons on Lantern Control, and office hours with me. Once you reach acceptance, every month you'll get a private session with me and can even feature your own deck here on Fateseal MTG.
Okay, we are on the draw in round 3 versus Justin 3. Justin San. Do I keep this? This is a bit awkward. The basic forest makes this really weird. It's got Urza Saga, it's got Ensnaring Bridge, it's got Discard, it's got Profane Tutor. It's a very strong hand just for the basic forest. I think I will keep it, and I think I'm going to fire off Stirrings on turn 1, digging for that black land. Or I'm going to get Thoughtseized on turn 1, and they're going to take my Ancient Stirrings. Oh, they took my Discard spell. That's very strange. I was not expecting that. Now that I have this Blooming Marsh, do I still fire off Stirrings? I think so. Do I want another Urza Saga, or do I want another Ensnaring Bridge? I do not have Discard to check their hand. How badly do I think that they will struggle against double Urza Saga? I think they will struggle enough that I take it. They don't seem to be concerned with the first Ensnaring Bridge in my hand, though. Tells me that they have counter spells, so they might actually be weak to Urza Saga here. All right, 1-2 punch of Urza Saga into Profane Tutor. The Modern Horizons power creep has hit Lantern Control, and they are swamp cycling a Troll of Khazad-dûm. And they did just get the high roll of Abhorrent Oculus binned off of the Undercity Sewers. Maybe I should have taken the Snaring Bridge then, huh? I'm quite terrified of a Persist type effect here. Looks like we got it. That's Unearth on Abhorrent Oculus. And then into Death Shadow. I think my Ensnaring Bridge is going to get countered if I play it out this turn. What am I going to do here? I am going to... Do I play out my cards and then just take the hit? I don't think I can afford to play a Construct. If I'm not affording to make a Construct, then I need to play out this Urza Saga now so that I can get the pop off of it sooner. Alice Sellsword, huh? Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any other target, then sacrifice it. Geez, that is a rough card for me to beat. I think I might need to make them shuffle that. I do need to play out my Pithing Needles now, though. I'm going to name the Troll of Khazad-dûm that I know about. I'm going to name the Psychic Frog that I suspect. And I'm just going to make them shuffle now. I don't want them cantripping. Overgrown Tomb being shocked in, that's terrifying. And they flipped an Emperor of Bones. Does this mean that I'm dead? 6, 8, 12, 17. I could be dead here. Adapt is 19. That was a pretty good hit. Now, here's a question. Can I even afford to check their hand at this point? I am at 1. If I top deck a land, then that means that I would cast my discard spell, cast my Ensnaring Bridge, play a forest, be stuck with 1 card in hand. That's okay. These manifest creatures are 2/2s. Yeah, I can afford to do basically anything here. So I think I will Profane Tutor, hope that they do not have a free counterspell of some sort. And I have to grab Inquisition here. Although I guess Duress would have been fine too, but what am I afraid of that would be more than 3 cost? Force of Negation is 1 cost. I have a Lantern in my hand. Does this mean that I grab Mox Opal so that I can fully dump my hand? And then next turn I can grab Millrocks? Or do I invest in a Millrock now, Inquisition them, play Ensnaring Bridge, and then next turn grab another Millrock and also grab Lantern, play Lantern, just hold Lantern in my hand? I think I'm going to do that. I will grab Pyxis of Pandemonium here, Inquisition you, Oculus, Fatal Push, Thought Scour. I'm going to take the Thought Scour. I'm going to play my land. I'm going to play my Ensnaring Bridge. Tight lines there. That was some tight gameplay. Let's see if it actually pays out. They will get 1 unknown draw, and they just played it. All right, sure. No way! It was a Psychic Frog underneath of that Abhorrent Oculus that's going to deal the 1 point of damage to me. I guess I didn't consider that, did I? Maybe my line wasn't as tight as I thought it was. If I had grabbed a Mox Opal, then I would have been able to dump my hand completely. Wow, that is crazy. I should have played around that, huh? Yeah, should have played around that. All right, well, that was an unfortunate loss, I think. All right, so we're playing against Reanimator. Soulless Jailer does shut off nothing, actually. It's just permanent cards in graveyards. So it would shut off, no, it would shut off Unearth. Grafdigger's Cage shuts off Unearth. I don't think I want Soulless Jailer. Cursed Totem would shut off Psychic Frog and would also shut off Emperor of Bones. I don't know if that is where I want to be here. Let me see if there's anything I'd actually want to side out. I kind of want to side out Underworld Cookbook. I think I am. Okay, if I'm siding that out, then what am I bringing in? I guess I'll bring in a Cursed Totem. Ooh, wow, that was a schmackdown. Okay, I would like to play first. This hand sticks bridge, and it sticks bridge very, very well. I will keep it. I will lead on an Inquisition. All right. They've got a lot of good stuff in here. The Consign to Memory is really the only thing that I'm afraid of, I think. I think I'll take the Consign to Memory. That's fine. Grafdigger's Cage as my rip. Okay, that's a pretty decent rip. That is a Psychic Frog as their draw. I think I'm just going to take that. And then I'll play out an Urza Saga into Grafdigger's Cage, and that will shut off their Unearth. They shocked in that Overgrown Tomb on their end step because they want to lower their life total for Death Shadow here. And they ripped another Psychic Frog. Okay, that's fine. Well, at least now I know that you don't have a counter spell for this Ensnaring Bridge that I'm going to drop. That is another Watery Grave off the top of their deck. That Callous Sellsword is going to be a little bit of a problem. I don't think it's going to be a super big problem, but it could be. Discarding Unearth, discarding Cosmogoyf. All right, and they've got a third card in hand now. And that card was an Unearth, and they just discarded it for some reason. Oh, so that they can cast their Abhorrent Oculus. Now, it's important to note that Grafdigger's Cage shuts off the Manifest Dread on Abhorrent Oculus, so I'm not particularly worried about this. The card that I'm mostly worried about in their hand right now is Callous Sellsword. Okay. I will simply find a Lantern of Insight here. Now, that's interesting. If they get their life total low enough, then Death Shadow and Callous Sellsword start to become a problem for me. I don't think it is enough of a concern that I need to be super duper worried about it right now. So I think I'm just going to fire off this Ancient Stirrings and I'm going to get a lock set up. Yeah, I guess a Lantern is fine. All right, and with that Inquisition on top of my deck, then there is very little that I'm worried about. I'm not even going to make the creature, it doesn't matter. Codex Shredder. I'm getting Codex Shredder as my first mill rock here because I want to be able to mill myself into additional mill rocks while keeping their top deck fixed. I have a Grafdigger's Cage in play. There's not really much that I'm worried about. See, like right here. They have a Cosmogoyf on top of their deck. That's a pretty dead draw. If I were to activate Pyxis to get rid of that Dreams of Steel and Oil, then that would get rid of the Cosmogoyf and potentially put in Otawara or a Sink into Stupor, which is what they most likely have on top of their deck. Although I guess with the Abhorrent Oculus, it doesn't really matter much anyway. No Surveil lands, huh? And not shocking in the Blood Crypt. I'm not worried about the Consigned to Memory. It's going to get milled anyway. Callous Sellsword, I'm slightly worried about. They can slowly buff the Psychic Frog to be lethal for that Callous Sellsword. I think I'm just going to play the Pithing Needle. If they get themselves to 1 life, then that means that this Callous Sellsword will be a problem. And I will actually make the construct here because it just doesn't matter. And grab another Codex Shredder, actually. Surgical Extraction is irrelevant. Nice to know that they have that in their deck, though. Do I want to take the Consigned to Memory? Oh, right. It mills on my upkeep anyway, so it doesn't matter. Emperor of Bones. Do I want them having that? They could put Tassiger the Golden Fang into play. Tassiger's not really that important, though. There's not really a way that they could get rid of bad cards in their graveyard, at least not an amount of them that would make it relevant. But it could cause trouble later on. I think I will mill the Emperor of Bones. I just don't know enough about their deck to make a really educated decision on that. They're going to mill that Troll of Khazad Dûm. I'm going to play this Pyxis. It's going to be a very welcome addition to my Millrock collection. And my opponent is really running out of options here. They don't want that Psychic Frog. They could take that Thought Scour, though. That would be a nice pickup, if I would allow them to have it. Stubborn Denial is fine. Yep, that's a Meltdown. You can't draw that Meltdown. That Meltdown would be very scary. And very feared inning. Although I guess you're going to be milling all this stuff over anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter that much. And they can stub this Profane Tutor if they want to. They're probably going to do it. Wow, they just let it go. Yeah, okay, I'll just grab another Codex Shredder. They should have stubbed the Codex Shredder, I think. But they're just choosing to hold it for some reason. I'm not sure why. Not using that Surgical Extraction to even shuffle their own library. And at this point, I'm going to start milling them just to end the game a little faster. This next draw that they have will be their last draw. Hey, there's that curse totem. That curse totem is looking lovely right now. Okay, and they gave it up. All right, we're on the board against this opponent. Now we have to win one on the draw. Do I still want to keep this configuration? Yeah, it's fine, I guess. I'll go ahead and run it back. This hand does a very good job of landing Ensnaring Bridge. I'll keep it. Hopefully they do not turn one Inquisition or Thoughtseize me. That would be terrible. They took the Inquisition. How interesting. Why did they take the Inquisition? Because they felt that they could beat Ensnaring Bridge somehow? Do they have 2 counterspells in their hand? Is that what's going on? I'm going to play out this Blooming Marsh, and I think I'm going to Stirrings. I would love to find another Ensnaring Bridge here. I'm probably not going to. Urza's Saga is a good pickup, though. Oh, they're on 1 land. I'm going to Thoughtseize them first. So Oculus, Sellsword, Psychic Frog, Unearth, Unearth, Stubborn Denial. I'm going to take that Stubborn Denial. Yeah, they're just on 1 land. Stubborn Denial is gone, and they still don't have the land. This could end very poorly for our opponent here. This could end very poorly for our opponent indeed. They still don't have the land. I will fetch a basic swamp here, and I will start killing them. I'm going to grab a... I'm going to grab a Codex Shredder here, actually. And I know that my opponent does not have lands, so I don't need to check their hand. Grab that Overgrown Tomb. I will shock it in. And I'm going to keep them off of lands if I can. Ah, they top decked a Sever Denial. Okay, that's fine. All right. You're taking some damage here. And they give it up. No lands, I guess. Okay, wow. I don't really know why they kept the hand that they did. I guess they had a Thoughtseize, they had a Stubborn Denial. Maybe they thought that that would buy them some time. They had Unearth on Psychic Frog if they found a way to discard it, I guess. I don't know. I'm asking silly questions. Let's go ahead and move on to round 4. We are on the draw in round 4 versus Theogony Mitgo. This hand does a very good job of protecting an Ensnaring Bridge from counterspells. It also has Urza's Saga in it. I think I'm going to keep it. My opponent with the mulligan to 6. Flooded Strand into Fetch, into Watery Grave, into Thoughtseize. Oh boy, it's almost like I knew that they were going to cast a Thoughtseize when they fetched a Watery Grave. It's a very good magic card. That's why we're playing 4 of them today. They elected to take the Thoughtseize and not the Ensnaring Bridge. I don't really know what to make of that. I am going to fetch Shock here. I'm going to grab an Overgrown Tomb, and I will Inquisition them. That's why, because they wanted to protect their Overlord of the Veilmark. Of course they did. Of course they did. Okay, so they will have Flooded Strand, Fatal Push, Overlord, and an Unknown here. Down to 12 life, notably. They're going to mill 4. They hit a lot of pretty good stuff. They have an Elish Norn in there, huh? Okay, Emperor of Bones is back in their hand. All right, now the question. Do I Stirrings now, attempting to find a land here? Or do I just Lantern off of Saga and then Inquisition them? I think I will do that. Lantern into Inquisition. Take that Emperor of Bones. Ephemerate is in their hand. Okay, now we're in a really interesting spot. Maybe I should have Stirrings for a land last turn, huh? I don't think I want the Mill Rock because Urza's Saga is going to pop next turn. Although I could take the Mill Rock now, get rid of that Thoughtseize, and then use Urza's Saga to grab a Mox Opal so I can cast this Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, let's see how that goes. Or I could grab another Ensnaring Bridge and insulate against that Thoughtseize. Or I could grab Mox Opal and then rely on my consistency from the Lantern Lock to find an additional Ensnaring Bridge. Lots of interesting plays to make here. So I grab Pyxis if I want to take them off the Thoughtseize now. And then I will fetch that Mox Opal with the Saga. I take Mox Opal if I want to do what? Caress them? Take Ephemerate? And that would put us into garbage mode. No, I could take the Fatal Push and then beat them down with my Urza Saga construct. That is really risky. So that would involve Mox Opal now, Lantern, Duress, take Fatal Push, but then they would just exile my Saga construct and then we would just be back where we started, except they have a bunch of threats and I don't. So I don't think that's the play. I could take Ensnaring Bridge. I could insulate against the Thoughtseize, hope to draw into a land, and then next turn, Urza Saga would pop. Hopefully I'd have a land just from a natural draw, and I could grab Pyxis. Mox Opal's not the play. That's too aggro. It's either Pyxis or Bridge. I'm going to take the Pyxis. And there's a land on top of my deck anyway. Okay, that's fantastic. Except I need to get rid of it, because I'm not allowing them to draw this Thoughtseize. So maybe there will be a second land or something. Boggart Trawler is acceptable. They're just playing that as a land now. I guess they didn't have another land, did they? Okay, now I need to decide what I'm going to do. I think I am going to grab Mox Opal and play Ensnaring Bridge and then just run off of a very small number of lands. Well, that worked out pretty well. Let it strand, that's fine. Playing that as a land for turn. And there's no way that I let them have this Witch Enchanter. That's just not going to happen. They did fetch. I'm quite glad they fetched. I would rather them fetch now than fetch later when my Pyxis is exhausted. Cling to Dust, huh? I don't really want them having that Cling to Dust, but I don't know if I can do anything about it either. I think I'm going to Inquisition them. I'm going to take the Ephemerate. Maybe I should have used Duress to take the Ephemerate, huh? Ephemerate is gone. I'm going to play out my Lantern now. And I think I am actually going to exile this Cling to Dust face down. I just don't want them having it. Fatal Push on top of their deck. I don't need to cast the cards in my hand right now. This Ensnaring Bridge is holding back the Overlord just fine. And I think we may have found the line. I think we just might have found the line here. All right. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. They're going to hardcast their Solitude. I'm going to take 3 damage here, whatever. Also, hello, Maeve. Thanks for tuning into the stream. I appreciate it. Thelia's just not relevant here because they're not going to be able to attack. Because I'm going to do this. Lovely Felia you have there. It would be cool if it could actually do something. I will exile this Pyxis, this Flickerwisp face down because I just don't want them having it in their graveyard. Well, now they have a Witch Enchanter in their graveyard, I guess. Okay, well, that's fine, I suppose. I'm going to see if I can trophy their Overlord and bait them into shuffling. I did successfully bait them into shuffling, but it put a Witch Enchanter on top of their deck. Ephemerate is okay, actually. They just don't have anything in play that would actually be relevant here. I'm going to stop keeping track of their hand. It's just a bunch of creature removal. Oh, I kept a card in my hand when I didn't need to. Oh well. Doesn't matter that much. And it looks like we're actually going to get a game 1 versus Blink. This is really nice. Yeah, I'm just going to start milling them out, I think. Ooh, Teferi's not good. No Teferi. No Quantum Riddler either, I think. Take that Quantum Riddler. Flickerwisp? Oh, they have Ephemerate in hand, don't they? Yeah, okay. Maybe I should not have been so aggressive with my milling. I might actually be slipping here. It looks like they're not punishing me for it. All right, I'll take it. Solitude is fine. Basically everything is fine. All right, I'm going to be just a little bit more aggressive. Okay, I'm going to be a lot more aggressive. That Emperor of Bones can't hit play, neither can that Overlord. And I am going to cast this Profane Tutor, and I'm just going to put this Pyxis right into my hand. Pyxis right into my hand. And I'm going to exile on my upkeep. There we go. That's lovely. Need more Mill Rocks. All right, and they get 1 more draw, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, they're going to get an additional draw here. So I'm going to just activate here. All right, and that was their last draw. Okay, and we're at game. Opponent making me mill them out, as is correct to do. Wow, taking that game 1 was actually really nice because now we can utilize our sideboard tech. Hushbringers, get in the deck. Now, even though the opponent has Teferi Time Ravelers in their deck, I think that it's still correct to side out a Duress. I'm going to leave Dreams and Steel of Oil in. I'm going to take out Grafdigger's Cage, and I'm going to take out Underworld's Cookbook. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do it like this. You really do not want to be sideboarding too heavily here. This is a really good hand, and I'm going to keep it. Snap keep on that. My opponent with the mold of 6, they might be keeping 6, just choosing what to bottom. They did choose to keep 6. Marshflat into no play. I love to see that. And that's a turn 1 Thoughtseize from me. And a turn 2 Thoughtseize if I'm so inclined. Ashiok Dream Render? I don't think I care about that, right? It's gonna stop me from searching my library. I think I really care about this Felia, though. Yeah, I'll take the Felia. Into Plains. They're not looking for land number 4. They're Thoughtseizing me. They're gonna find that Hushbringer. Let's see if they prioritize it or not. If they do not take Hushbringer and I rip the white producing land, I'm casting Hushbringer. I'm just doing it. I will do that before I suspend Profane Tutor, I think. They're really deciding what they want to do here. They decided to take the Ancient Stirrings. I just don't think that was correct. All right, Pithing Needle in my hand. That's fine. Because, like, worst case scenario, that Profane Tutor that I suspended can grab Urza Saga, and then I use Mycosynth Gardens to filter into white and cast Hushbringer. That's pretty cool. Really thinking about this Surveil off of the archive here. They kept it. Don't like that. I think they're going to play the Ashiok Dream Render now. Huh, that's funny. Ashiok does actually stop Profane Tutor, doesn't it? They hit an Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. So, that Mox Opal lets me do a couple of things here. Now, I have some options. I don't think that they'd be able to cast Witch Enchanter and Ephemerate it in the same turn next turn. So what I could do is I could Thoughtseize them now and then hold the Pithing Needle and the Mox Opal. And then next turn I can Gardens, Pithing Needle, play Mox Opal, play Hushbringer. I think I'm going to do that. Ephemerate and Overlord. Wow, really glad that I took that line. Overlord needs to get out of there. And now they actually don't have a way of accomplishing anything next turn other than downticking Ashiok. Witch Enchanter, huh? But they choose not to downtick Ashiok. Nope, they're choosing to downtick it. Okay, that's fine. Oh, and that Lantern on top of my deck means that I can now just decline to cast this because I can't search anyway. I'm going to grab the Lantern and I'm going to hold Pithing Needle. But I have an Ensnaring Bridge on top of the deck. So I think I actually will cast Pithing Needle here. I'm going to name Ashiok. Ashiok, Dream Render. Now I'm going to cast Mox Opal. And now I'm going to cast Hushbringer. Okay, they have Ephemerate, Witch Enchanter in hand, Ashiok on top of Library. Ensnaring Bridge is coming down. I'm not convinced that I really desperately need it. At least not right now. And I'm just going to attack them. 1 point at a time. Play out this Lantern of Insight. Cling to Dust. Playing Witch Blessed Meadow as a land. I feel like I should know what their last card in hand is, right? Oh, it's an Ashiok. Right. And I think Quantum Riddler is fine, actually. I'll play out my Ensnaring Bridge. And now I just need a Mill Rock. Any Mill Rock. Come on, give me something. They're going to Cling a Flooded Strand, draw into that Quantum Riddler. I think I'm going to let that go. Give them a nice little love tap. They got Solitude in hand, which Hushbringer will shut off, actually. They are warping their Quantum Riddler. They did not draw a card off of it. They are ephemerating their Quantum Riddler. They're still not going to draw a card off of it, but it will stop the love taps from Hushbringer. But I have a second Hushbringer. I'm going to suspend Profane Tutor, knowing that it's not going to do anything. At the very least, it'll give me a shuffle 2 turns from now. Flooded Strand. They're playing it as a land for turn. Oops. And I'm not going to cast this Inquisition on my opponent because I do not want them to start drawing additional cards. Oh, that from Worry Fault is huge. Yeah, I want that. Although I suppose they are going to start drawing additional cards now, aren't they? I wonder what their outs are at this point. They've got some Wrath in the Skies in the deck, maybe? Overlord of the Baelmerk could potentially cause problems. They kept it on top, right? Yeah, they kept it on top. Oh, they're getting greedy. They're getting greedy. That's not good. Don't do it. Don't get greedy. Oh, they're escaping Cling to Dust to draw into Clarion Conqueror so that they can then Overlord it back. Huh. That's interesting. So now if I discard them, then they're just going to get it back with Overlord next turn. That's really interesting. All right, well, what do I want to do about that? I think everything will start with Fomori Vault, so I'm going to play that out. That's a real shame, too. That Codex Shredder would have helped me out with that a little bit, but I didn't have it. Oh, I had a second lantern. I could have had them shuffle, and then I wouldn't be in this mess. Well, I'm in the mess now. Emperor of Bones is down. They're going to decline this, right? Yeah, they declined it. Okay, so that means that I need to... Oh, I can't spin to win because the Box Opal's turned off. I should have spinned to win when Clarion Conqueror was still on the stack or something. All right. It is possible for me to break through this, but it's a bit difficult. Now they're overlording. Milling a Wrath of the Skies, notably. I'll take that. Okay, so now that they have milled Wrath of the Skies, I know that it's in their deck. I mean, I figured it would be, but still. But, interestingly enough, that means that the Overlord's not in their hand anymore. Overlord is the card that I was really worried about. It also means that I am ahead on deck size, exiling the Wrath of the Skies. Okay, that's fine. Okay, and this Bloodstained Mire will allow me to start cycling things. Emperor of Bones in their hand. And opponent is playing the long game here. Right, I can't shuffle. I can't search my deck. I forgot about that. Okay, well, it's fine. That's fine. I have an Overgrown Tomb on top of my deck now. Flicker Wisp in their hand is completely shut off. Or rather, Flicker Wisp on top of their deck is completely shut off. They are still choosing to hardcast Solitudes. I guess they need a board presence. All right, spin to win. I'm going to look at 6 cards here. I did not find anything that would allow me to remove the Clarion Conqueror. So I think I will instead just take, honestly, Basic Forest, I think. I think Basic Forest is fine. I think I'm going to play out all of my stuff. Thoughtseize. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Is there anything I can do about that? I don't think so. I don't think there's a dang thing I can do about that. Okay, so I have an Inquisition of Kozilek in my hand. My opponent has on their side of the battlefield Thoughtseize, Flicker Wisp, Emperor of Bones, Solitude, and Ashiok in their hand, and all of these things in play that are really going to cause trouble. Wrath of the Skies is going to blow past my Mycosynth Gardens, unfortunately. What do I need to do here? I could Inquisition them, take the Flicker Wisp. That would at least buy me a little bit of time. Or I could spin to win, hope to find another Ensnaring Bridge somehow. What's the likelihood, though, that they just Wrath for 2 and then use the Flicker Wisp in their hand to cause additional trouble now that the Hushbringers are turned off? Maybe I should have more heavily prioritized getting rid of the Clarion Conqueror. Now it's really interesting to see what's going to happen. I think I just need to wrap it up. I think I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going to save time for game 3. Wrath of the Skies on top of the deck. Yep. I could have gotten rid of this Clarion Conqueror by sacrificing one of these redundant lanterns. I just didn't see the line, so I didn't do it. So let's go ahead and sideboard. I think I'm just going to run it back. It's a shame I didn't see that line about that lantern. I'm just so... I hold on to my lantern so tightly, and I really shouldn't be doing that. I will be on the play. I'll keep this, yeah. With 6 minutes on the clock, I would love to be able to just mulligan to Urza Saga, but I'm not going to have the luxury of doing that. Okay, Overgrown Tomb, Shock-In, Inquisition, and we see a bunch of nasty things. Nasty, nasty, nasty things. I'm going to take the Ephemerate. Undercity Sewers is down from their side. They kept it on top. That's terrifying. Now, I think I will actually Stirrings here, see if I hit an Urza Saga. I do. Then I will play Urza Saga. I will cast Shredder, and then I will shred that card that they kept on top. It was a Flicker Wisp that they're probably going to return to hand with Overlord, playing a card that I didn't know about, that Plains. And they are bringing back Flicker Wisp. So there's a trick that they can use that I know about that I'm not going to allow them to do. Here's what they're going to do here. They are going to play their Witch Enchanter as a land, and then they are going to Flicker Wisp targeting that land. And then they're going to try and kill my Urza Saga when the Witch Blessed Meadow returns as the creature. No, you can't do that. I'm going to Assassin's Trophy the Meadow. And they're Thoughtseizing me. Okay, that's fine. Really deciding on what to hit with this Thoughtseize. They took the Pithing Needle. All right, I'm not going to make a construct here. I'm just going to grab Lantern of Insight, and then I'm going to play my Ensnaring Bridge. Thoughtseize on top of their deck can't be helped. I'm just going to try and keep them off of everything that I possibly can. I don't have much of a lock to do it with, though. Yeah, jeez, look at that. I need mill rocks now. I need lots and lots and lots and lots of mill rocks. This Thoughtseize will likely have to trade for this Clarion Conqueror. They can cling to dust anything, really, and then draw the Clarion Conqueror. But if I mill it... So this cling to dust in their hand will allow them to draw that Clarion Conqueror at instant speed. But they have to expend resources in order to do that. Something like this is fine. This means that the Thoughtseize on my top of my deck can now trade for this Clarion Conqueror because they're going to draw it, but they won't be able to cast it this turn. All right. Cling to Dust is out of their hand. They're fetching to keep Overlord in their deck. Hate to say it, but I don't think I'm winning this one either. Hubble, Clarion Conqueror into Thoughtseize. All right. Jeez, man. All right. That is absolutely brutal. This Thoughtseize will be able to take one of them, but not the other. Double Clarion Conqueror, Marsh Flats. Okay, maybe I could have sacrificed Lantern there, but I don't really think it matters either way. Yeah, like, look at this. What am I supposed to do against a hand that looks like this? And they're being extremely wise here. They are choosing not to cast their Clarion Conqueror immediately because they're trying to draw into that Wrath of the Skies by flashbacking Cling to Dust. Extreme discipline from the opponent here. All right, Wrath of the Skies is in their hand. Prismatic Ending, really? At least that one's going to get milled. Okay, so now it's a choice between Clarion Conqueror and Wrath of the Skies. I think it has to be Wrath. Well, this is why they put the outs in their deck, is so that they can draw them. They don't need that Flooded Strand. Solitude is fine. And I can't let them draw that Witch Enchanter either. Yeah, but they can just put me in the exact same situation, except now I don't have an additional Thoughtseize effect to take the Witch Enchanter. They're just going to Cling to Dust again. I think I have to get really, really lucky here. I think it's time to sacrifice the Lantern. Oh, I should not have done that. Dang it, I should not have done that. I needed a mill on my upkeep so that I could see what was underneath of it. And if I had milled Marsh Flats, then what would have been underneath of it? It would have been a Lantern. All right, well... yeah, it's garbage time, except my opponent is probably gonna win. Clarion Conqueror is down. Now they're gonna Thoughtseize me. Extreme patience from my opponent. Very well played. I'm gonna put this on Emperor of Bones. And I think y'all have seen enough of these sorts of matches to understand just why I haven't really won a match against Esper Sewer. They just got so much stuff. It's not the fact that they have any one particular card, it's that they have all of them. The Witch Enchanters, the Prismatic Endings, the Wrath of the Skies, the Clarion Conquerors, the Flickerwisps. There's just so much that has to go right in order for me to win a match against them that even with the additional help, it just doesn't work. Yeah, they have a Witch Enchanter now. They're just gonna cast it, and they're gonna hit me for 11. Just completely uncontrolled. And they brought back a Clarion Conqueror to their hand, which means that now I need double removal to get rid of it. And it's Ensnaring Bridge on top, or a Ancient Stirrings, or Death. All right, that is Death. Okay, that was a lot. I have so much trouble against this matchup, and quite frankly, the entire community does too. We don't know what to do to help with this. Like, the Hushbringers were supposed to help, but as you saw in the last game, Hushbringers do not solve everything. Now, I think I might have been able to squeak by with a win in that second game if I had been smart about shuffling their deck with Lantern in that one interaction point that I had. I don't know. Hushbringers are good, but they are not so good that they can carry the game on their own, especially against an opponent that has Clarion Conquerors to lock down the entire lock into Wrath of the Skies Prismatic Ending to remove Bridge. If anyone has any ideas as to how to fix this matchup, please drop them in the Discord or drop them in the comments or something like that. We need help. On to round 5. Okay, we are on the play in round 5 versus mtvice. That's a hand. Yep, that's a hand that I could have. That is 7 cards that are legal in the format that do not go well together in the slightest. Oh, and this is another hand. So I need to decide immediately if I'm fetching green or not. I need to decide if I'm playing out a lock and trying to get some lands. It has triple discard in it. What would I get rid of out of this hand? Maybe one of the discard spells. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to get rid of an Inquisition. I will fetch Shock, grabbing the Overgrown Tomb, and I will Inquisition them. Okay, and my opponent is on some nonsense. This is fantastic. They are on some real nonsense. Dreams of Steel and Oil is good against me, actually. So is Thoughtseize. I don't think I'm going to be relying on having cards in hand. Rivetier's Charm destroys an artifact, right? No, but it does Impulse for 3. Oh, geez. Omnixilus is just an insane amount of reach very quickly. Do they have any consistency tools? Not really. I feel like if my opponent casts their spells, then they're just going to win. So I'm going to take... I don't know. I think the scariest card in here might be Rivetier's Charm. And then I can take Obnixilus the next turn. Or maybe I take Obnixilus now and the Rivetier's Charm later. Yeah, I'll do that. That is a wild hand, though. I'm going to be losing my entire hand, too, so be prepared for that. Whatever they keep on top here, I'm milling it. I don't care what it is. Because it's probably going to be a land. So if they keep it on top, it's gone. They put Verdant Catacombs into their graveyard. My dude, you don't have lands. Oh, and some of these cards aren't showing correctly still. I'm sorry. So Rivetier's Charm and Dreams of Steel and Oil are also in their hand. I did not draw the land, but I drew a Lantern of Insight. Or rather, I can play a Lantern of Insight. That's a Bloodstained Mire on top of their deck. Do I really want to keep them off of lands that badly? I don't think so. I think it's okay. They're choosing to Thoughtseize me. I'm probably going to lose Ensnaring Bridge here. Yeah, we both kept one landers. Thoughtseize is down, Bloodstained Mire is down. They're revealing their green. They're going to Dreams and take my Codex Shredder. I have a Thoughtseize in hand and a Thoughtseize on the top of my deck. Oh, that Raucous Theater isn't in hand anymore. I'm going to Thoughtseize them now. I'm not going to play out a Pithing Needle. Oh, they have the land, huh? They have the land. 15 from this, 13 from the other Thoughtseize, 10 from Bolt, and then Orcish Bowmasters only has to deal 5 points of 5 combats. I gotta take the Rivetier's Charm, though. I'm not gonna win this. I don't have the lands for it. My opponent has too much direct damage. Do I sacrifice my Lantern here? Have myself shuffle? I think I might do that. I'm gonna do that. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with that Lantern, but I know that I'm not going to be winning with Thoughtseize on top of my deck. Maybe I'll draw a land and I can, like, trophy one of the things. Or I can just draw another Ensnaring Bridge. That's fine. They fetched a Surveil land. They don't need to roll out their Lightning Bolts super quickly. All right, Orcish Bowmasters has come down. And that's a Spyro. They are going to discard all of the bolts, actually. That's pretty good for me, I think. Except it's not. Because now I'm facing lethal very, very quickly, so I need to draw running lands. And the next land that I draw needs to produce either black or green. And that's not it. So this means I'm just deterministically dead, right? Yeah. Orcish Bowmasters is going to come down. It's not going to actually change the clock, I think. Unless they top decked a Lightning Bolt. But it doesn't really matter. I'm dead regardless of what they do. They just need to swing in. Oh, it only put me to 4. Okay, so top deck Lightning Bolt would not have done it. And I think I'm not even going to show them that I have Godless Strain. I'm just going to wrap it up here. Okay, so Jund Goodstuff. Finally nice to see a Jund Goodstuff list. What do I want to do against them? Do I have much to do against a deck like this? Soulless Jailer can turn off Rivetier's Charm, except it only stops non-creature spells. So if they have creature spells that they exile off Rivetier's Charm that are relevant, then I'm just cooked. I could bring in Hushbringers. I don't think I'm going to. I could bring in Gaddock Teague to go against what exactly? It's just a pile of good cards. They just have a really well-balanced curve. They have creatures that attack. They have removal. They have low end. They have top end. I'm not really seeing anything in my build that could help. The Hushbringers would stop what specifically? Orcish Bowmaster ETBs, and I guess it would stop Spyro from entering. But they're probably not going to be siding out their Lightning Bolts. Don't really see Lightning Bolt much these days. I think I'm going to keep it as is. I think the argument could be made from bringing in Meat Hook Massacres. But if I'm going to be doing that, then what am I siding out? I'm keeping in Cage, right? I guess not. I'll side out a Cage. Do I keep in Dreams? Do I keep in Duress? I think I would be more afraid of their non-creature spells. Okay, I guess I found a little bit of improvement that I could make then. I did see a lot of small creatures. That doesn't mean that they don't have things like just straight up Tarmogoyf though. I will be on the play. And I'm gonna keep this hand, actually. It's 5 lands, Thoughtseize and Ensnaring Bridge, but I think that it is good enough. Yep, that is a crime and punishment. Destroy each artifact, creature, and enchantment with mana value X. So they could play that on turn 2. Get rid of my Urza Saga. I think I'm just taking that. Okay, and I really need Urza Saga to carry now. We are down Bloodstained Mire into Ragavan Nimble Pilfer. Okay, they hit my Underworld Cookbook. What are they gonna do next, though? Just play a bunch of big creatures? Play a Fable of the Mirror Breaker? That's fine. I don't really know if there's much that I can do here. I think I'm gonna play out my basic forest. Urza Saga is just seeming like it's just a little bit too slow. I could trade a construct token for the Ragavan. I could just play out Ensnaring Bridge. I think I might do that. All these lands in hand are not going to help me much, though. I really can't afford to draw any more lands. So they bend Goyf and Takenuma. I'm going to take 4 here. I'm going to fall to 12. And they hit a Thoughtseize, which is something I really kind of actually wanted, actually. Oh, they can Thoughtseize me, and they can take my Lantern of Insight out of my hand. Oh, that's going to stink. I don't like that. At least they didn't hit my Ensnaring Bridge. Oh, man. Oh, they're doing something here. They're doing something here. They're doing something here. That is an Ob Nixilis the Adversary. Oh, thank you. I really didn't want these lands in my hand. Oh, that's so nice. I would love to have a Lantern of Insight right now, but I don't think that I can afford it. I think that I need to grab Pithing Needle and I need to name Ob Nixilis, and then I need to find the Lantern somehow another way. That's just out of respect for how quickly this thing can scale. It can scale very quickly. They kept the card on top from their Surveil land here. I am going to Pyxis that away, and I'll never know what it was. Renin 6 has come down. That's going to be a problem that I'll need to deal with eventually, because then they can just flash back their crime and punishment. Or it's a problem that I will need to solve sooner than that, because they just returned Takenuma to their hand. The Meat Hook Massacre. I could play this for 0. I could hold it. It doesn't look particularly good on this board, does it? I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hope that my opponent doesn't, like, hit a Thoughtseize or something. Hey, they put Thoughtseize into their graveyard off of their Surveil. That's fantastic. Means that they probably have another one, right? Bloodstained Mire in their hand now. Bloodstained Mire not in their hand now. I think I'm gonna start slowly exiling things with Pyxis. Do I fire off this Inquisition now? I guess Renin 6 isn't in their hand anymore, is it? Yeah, I'm gonna fire it off now because I don't want their creatures attacking, I guess. Oh, they do have Renin 6. Okay. Alright, well, I'm in trouble. I need to find an answer for this Renin 6 soon. And for those of you at home wondering, oh, well, why doesn't he just copy the Pithing Needle with the Mycosynth Gardens? That is a legal play that I can make. It's just that the Pithing Needle copy doesn't ever enter, so it will not give me the opportunity to name a card. So you'd have a Pithing Needle that doesn't name anything. All right, I need an answer to that Renin 6 either right now or next turn, because they're going to flash back this punishment that will wipe the board, and then their Planeswalkers will carry. Okay, well, it's do or die. I need to top deck either a Pithing Needle or a Assassin's Trophy. Pithing Needle will shut it down for longer. Assassin's Trophy will delay it. And I top deck a Mox Opal, which is not a Pithing Needle, notably. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. I could continue to play this game. Honestly, I just don't want to. All right, well, that was a really interesting dismantling, actually. So I had a couple of really tight spots. Didn't really have a good place to put that Lantern of Insight, unfortunately. Oh, man. I think my opponent just had a really good mix of everything, and it was just difficult for me to capture everything. I think it was a nice try. I think that the decision point of if I grab a Lantern off of the Urza Saga or a Pithing Needle, I think that was an interesting decision point. Maybe this game would have played out differently if I had grabbed Lantern. Or maybe Ob Nixilis would have just plussed over a turn, maybe 2, and I wouldn't have found the second Pithing Needle anyway. and I would have died that way. I don't know. I don't know what would have been correct there. Maybe I did make the correct plays and I just rolled over. All right, I'll go ahead and wrap up. This deck was interesting to play. The 3-color aspect of it was interesting. The consistency tools being the way they were interesting. Dreams of Steel and Oil was pretty good, actually. I understand why people are using this as tech against Esper Blink. And I think that if I'm going to be taking anything away from this league, it is that I probably want a couple of these in my sideboard to bring in place of normally what I would bring in is duresses against matchups where I want additional discard. But having a different type of discard in the sideboard that just handles their stuff so cleanly might actually be worth considering. The real test here, though, was these Hushbringers, I think. Was Hushbringer so good versus having Torpor Orb, for example, that it would be worth it to introduce white into your mana base to play this card? And I think that the answer to that is how badly do you want to consolidate your sideboard slots to beat Broodscale combo? Because currently, Cursed Totem does something very similar to Hushbringer in the Broodscale deck. It will shut off the Eldrazi Spawn's ability to sacrifice for mana, which if they can't sacrifice for mana, then there's just no infinite loot to be had. But Cursed Totem will also shut off Haywire Mine, so you are essentially just bringing in a slightly worse Cursed Totem. I don't know if it's worth it, at least with this mana-based configuration. I think that it would be worth it for someone else to keep trying, but I was not super impressed by the White Splash specifically for these 2 cards. Well, I guess specifically for Hushbringer, because I didn't really bring in Gaddock Teeg in this league. I'm noticing that people are putting it in their sideboards. I'm just not sure why, and I'm not sure when I would bring it in, and I'm not sure what I would cut for it. So maybe that is a bit of error on my part, because I just don't know what I'm doing with the card. Yeah, we got wrecked pretty hard today, though. Rolled over to basically everything, put up a little bit of a fight, but mostly just did a lot of losing. I think some of that was my choices. I think some of that was RNG.
This program is made possible by your view, like, and comment, the support of my wife and son, and by contributions to the Fateseal MTG Patreon from viewers like you. Thank you.